And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, Darren back with you here at Cross Timbers Farm. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. It is an absolutely gorgeous fall afternoon here on the farm. Just breathtaking. The fall colors are getting close to wrapping up, but we still have quite a few of them. And I don't know if you can tell from this angle here, but the mountains around us are in all their beautiful fall glory. The leaves are changing. Right now the maples are really pretty. The oaks are starting to turn really mahogany red sort of, and it's breathtakingly beautiful here on the farm. We have a beautiful view from our front pasture as well as our back pastures of the surrounding mountains, and it's just a gorgeous day here. Let us rejoice in this day that the Lord hath made. It's a beautiful day, and we're happy to have you along with us today. One thing we're going to do today, and something I've had some interest in, is the drawbar build that we did for our Farm Maxx Redlands Ashland FMRB-330 mini round baler. We just was not happy with the 3-point hitch system that it mounts with, and maybe I should back up and say not happy, but it worked as it's built and as it's intended. It does work, but it's a lot of wear and tear, I believe, on your tractor, especially if you're mowing small scale, small paddocks, small pastures, having to continuously pick that baler up, which weighs about 1,000 to 1,100 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood, continuously picking that baler up and down. When you get to the end of your windrows and you need to turn, our tractor is a Kubota L3200, 32 horsepower, and plenty enough tractor for that baler, but you can't turn it. I've been baling before and needed to turn, and actually tried it a time or two without really picking it up, and I could really feel my tractor starting to torque and twist as those tires tried to scoot across the ground, and I realized real fast that that was not an option. I needed to scratch that and don't be trying to scoot that thing anymore. I could really feel a torque on my tractor when I did that. Not good. And a time or two I was baling with the round baler, and got to the end of my windrow, and I was kind of on a little bit of a slope, and I needed to start making a turn. So I started turning the tractor steering wheel and realized, wait a minute, I need to pick this baler up because it's really going to put torque on my tractor. And as soon as I picked that baler up off the ground, due to the uneven slope that I was on, it was one of those oh no moments, because you could feel the tractor immediately. As soon as the weight come off the tires, off the ground on the baler, and all the weight of that baler was shifted to the rear of my tractor, I could feel my tractor start, the front tire, the right front tire coming off the ground. And it was one of those uh-oh moments where you know that something bad is fixing to happen really fast. The weight of that baler shifting, all the weight hanging off the rear of my tractor, suddenly made my tractor so unstable that I honestly feel if I hadn't reacted really fast and pushed my lever down on my 3-point to drop that baler back to the ground, that I could have possibly been in a rollover situation. It was enough to set me on a course to building a drawbar kit for this baler. If you bale in flat land and you've got nice flat fields, plenty of room to turn around and pick up your baler and turn around, you know, a drawbar may not be for you. But if you need to turn this thing around and you're on unsteady ground, well, not unsteady, but well, I guess you could call it unsteady, but if you're on ground that's unlevel, you know, this drawbar kit, and we've used it after we built it. We went through a couple of prototypes, had to take the drawbar kit apart, start over, and the drawbar that we ended up with, the kit that we finally settled on and works, is fantastic. Now, before we even get into this drawbar kit, I'm going to do a quick disclaimer. This drawbar kit is not a Redlands attachment to your drawbar or to your baler. This was a drawbar kit that we here on the farm designed and made ourselves for our own use. The topic came up of maybe building a few of these things for sale once we got the right drawbar and the design of it down to where it works good. And after much thought and deliberations, we've decided against that. The liability of them and all that is just not worth our time. So, however, I'm going to take you on an in-depth look at this drawbar, and here's the disclaimer. If you decide you want a drawbar kit for your tractor and your baler, and if you follow what we did, all the risk is on you. Any damage to your tractor, any damage to your baler, any damage to you, whatever, is all on you. This is what works for us, and we are not recommending this to nobody else. This drawbar kit build is going to be labeled for entertainment purposes only if you like the FMRB-330 mini round baler. So if you decide to build a drawbar kit for your tractor and your baler, then all the responsibility is yours, not ours. So we're just showing you what worked for us, and it may not work for you. So let's slide into the barn, and I'll get the drawbar out. We don't have the tractor here in the barn, but the baler is in the barn, and we can go over some dimensions of the drawbar and the kit, and you get the gist. Having it actually hooked to the tractor at this point is not that important. We have another video in our small scale hay and equipment playlist that shows the drawbar and the tractor actually being used in baling hay. So you feel free to go and look at that video, but we're going to go into the barn here, and I'll get the drawbar out, and we'll do some measuring and show you our measurements in case it interests you for entertainment purposes to watch it. If you so choose to have you a drawbar kit built for your tractor and your baler, then consult with a professional welder and design it however you want it, because it's your drawbar and you'll be the one responsible for using it. So anyhow, let's go in the barn. Okay folks, we're in the barn here, and I've got the actual drawbar out here with me, and just a quick overview. You can see it has 2 pins through it. The top pin is a 3/4, which should have came with your mini round baler, and the bottom pin is a 1-inch pin. And the reason there is 2 different size pins in this drawbar is because of the top link attachment on your baler. If you have one of these balers, you'll notice the top link attachment area has 2 holes. In the bracket where your top link for your 3-point mounts, the top hole is a 3/4 and the bottom hole is 1 inch. And Redlands, I'm assuming, did that on these balers to accommodate a Category 1 and a Category 2 3-point attachment for the tractor. If you have a Category 2 or 1, then your tractor would hook up 3-point to the baler. So if you had a Category 1, you would use a 3/4 pin at the top here, and if you had a Category 2, you would have used 1 inch on the bottom. It matches to the hookup on the baler. So, okay, folks, here's the front of the baler, as you can see, and here are the holes in the bracket that sticks off the front of your baler right here to hook the top link of your 3-point from your tractor to. Okay, as I shown in the drawbar that we actually built, the top hole is for a Category 1. The light's not real good. I may have to turn to the other side. It is a 3/4. And the second hole, the bottom one, is a 1 inch for a Category 2 to hook to different Category 3-point systems on tractors, so it would work with both. If you notice when you bought your baler, the lower links are the same way. This side's for a Category 1, this one's Category 2. So you can flip this for whichever side you want to use whatever your tractor 3-point is. Same up here, you can hook to either one. So our drawbar build, when we drilled the holes, had to be drilled accordingly. A 3/4 and a 1. Okay, folks, here we have the drawbar, and as you can see, the holes are drilled in this to match the holes in the bracket that's on the baler. Now the angle that we drilled these, you notice everything's at an angle. It's to make the baler sit the right way. Okay, we'll go ahead and attach this. First we'll put in the 3/4 top pin. It goes right through. Okay, now you can see how that just falls all the way down. Okay, let's go ahead and secure that with a hitch pin. There we go. Okay, then we went to a farm supply store because everything on our tractor is Category 1 and we didn't have much Category 2 stuff. So I went to the farm supply store and bought me a 1 inch Category 2 pin. Okay, and I put it the opposite way in. Okay, I'm just going to raise this drawbar all the way up. That goes through. And we're going to slide a hitch pin right in there to secure it. Okay, now you can see the drawbar is not all the way down, hanging down. These two pins have secured it. Okay. Okay, as you can see, the 2 pins have secured our drawbar to the baler. That's all that's needed to secure it. Now, it's not quite as simple as that to get your right level for your drawbar and for your baler. As you notice that the drawbar, the angle of it, and the tab on the top, how it's resting on top of this bracket. Okay, because of that bracket, now this drawbar will not raise up very little. There is maybe a 1/4 inch movement, and that's what we wanted. We wanted that movement to be able to very minute raise or lower our 3-point lower links if we're in the field baling hay and we see something, that a hump in the ground that our pickup tines are really going to dig into, we could lift just a little bit. Or if we needed to lower just a little bit because there's a dip and there's a bunch of cut hay in it, that we could lower it just a tad to pick up that hay. So it has just a little bit of play in it, and that was purposely done that way. We wanted it in there. As you can see, the movement, it's very little. Okay, and one reason it's very little is because between the drawbar right here, okay, and your PTO shaft, you need at least about 3 inches of clearance between your drawbar and your PTO shaft. The last thing you want is this drawbar to drop low enough to make contact with your PTO shaft. If it does, you're probably going to have a bad day. Things are going to start banging and clanging and breaking probably. Okay, that is basically the attachment. Okay, that's how it's attached as far as the baler goes. Now there's more to it when we attach it to the tractor, to the 3-point, the crossbar, but as far as the baler goes, that's all you have to do to attach it, 2 pins. Okay, where the drawbar attaches to your tractor, it attaches via a crossbar that you put between your lower links, and we'll get to that in a moment. But as far as the drawbar here goes, this is the typical way a lot of implements are designed, with a bar and 2 plates welded to leave a space for the bar to go between and hook with a pin. Okay, this is the spot where when you're baling hay and you make a turn, this is the swivel point right here. This is the point where it's gonna turn and allow you to make a turn with your baler without having to pick it up or anything like that, using it the conventional way. Okay, we felt that it was very important for this piece right here to be super strong. It was important, don't get me wrong, for the whole thing to be really strong, built with good thick steel, but this section right here is where a lot of the stress will be, right here. And this, it was very important that this was built really stout. And if you can see, I'll zoom in a minute, and I've got a ruler here with me. And if I'm not mistaken, let's measure this. Okay, these steel plates right here are 3/4 of an inch thick, and top and bottom, and they are welded. And the gentleman, good friend of mine, that I worked with to build this drawbar, he is a professional welder. My welding skills are severely lacking, so I was not about to chance this with this expensive piece of equipment in my tractor to a shade tree welder like I would be. So I collaborated with a professional welder, and he came and looked at the baler, looked at my tractor, and helped me through this whole build. Matter of fact, he was more the fabricating than I was. It was just my ideas, and I was telling him what I wanted, and he come up with it. So basically, so these tabs, top and bottom, are welded not just one place or 2 places. They are welded all the way around, both of them. And his welds are second to none. His welding skills are off the charts. So they are welded all the way around. Now, one of the big things we had to overcome is How deep do we want this baler to be able to turn? Remember, you're using a PTO shaft. And the PTO shaft that we went with is not a CV joint PTO shaft. I would recommend that if you decide to build yourself a drawbar, that you buy the CV joint type PTO shaft. We did not. We went with a Weasler PTO shaft, and we measured from here with this hook to the tractor. Then we measured from the PTO shaft here to the PTO hook up on the tractor, the distance, and ours was 66 inches. So we found a PTO shaft that, when extended to 66 inches, still had about 8-10 inches of meat where they overlap left. And where these bars right here was welded for the hitch, we had to decide where we wanted them welded onto the bar, how much gap we wanted here. Okay, the reason that's important is because if you turn a normal PTO shaft too deep, you'll end up breaking your PTO shaft, probably breaking the yokes. They're not designed to turn, you know, at a 90-degree turn. All of a sudden, like this is sitting here and the tractor's sitting here. You're asking for trouble. So what we did was put these bars at a space. We hooked everything up to the tractor. We got the tractor turned to where I said, whoa, that's as deep as it needs to go. If we allow it to turn any deeper than that, then it's probably going to damage our PTO yokes, shaft yokes. So as deep as we wanted it to go, then we backed it up a little bit to give some space to be on the safe side. And that's where we welded these. Once we turn so deep, it will then contact the inside of this bar and won't turn any deeper. Okay, for a safety measure, sort of, so to speak. If you step up in price to a CV type PTO shaft that'll allow you to turn really deep, then putting these bars you know, wherever you want them is kind of a non-issue. But we were dealing with kind of a standard PTO shaft because of the price. When you go from a standard type PTO shaft up to a PTO shaft like one with CVs that allow you to turn really, really deep, you're talking a huge jump in price. So that was not in our budget, so we welded our tabs here to limit how deep it'll be able to turn. This thing will turn like this in there so deep, and it hits the bar just like this when we're turning, and it hits it and won't go any further. At that point, it's almost going to start trying to scoop the baler just like it would on the 3-point attachment, but it turns plenty deep enough to be able to make turns without having to worry about picking it up. So that was a key element in putting these tabs, these thick 3/4 inch tabs, welding them to the bar at the right spot. Okay folks, we're back here with the attachment where the bars, where it attaches to your crossbar. And like I said, every tractor is a little bit different. The width of your 3-point lower links, things of that nature. This needs to be built to your tractor, not just a generic. So this measurements that I'm giving may or may not fit any other tractor. It fits mine. So the depth I have here, I've got my little trusty wooden measurement stick, and the depth from the bar, end of the bar here, to the end of these attachments is 3 inches and 5/16. 3 and 5/16. So we have 3 5/16 inches right in here. For my tractor. Your tractor could be a lot different. So if you're considering building a drawbar kit for your round baler, you need to actually hook it up and clamp. What we did was use some really heavy duty clamps, and we clamped these on, and I turned the tractor to the point where I didn't want it to be able to turn any further because of my PTO shaft, and we adjusted it back and forth to get it to the right spot where we felt comfortable that was the maximum that it needed to turn and be comfortable with not damaging our PTO shaft. Then we marked it, and that's where we welded it. That's what you would need to do. You would need to get this piece and attach it to your tractor, clamp it on, and find out what depth you want to be able to turn, your turning radius. If you don't, you could end up damaging your PTO shaft or your tractor or something of that nature. So again, disclaimer, if you decide to build one, it's all on you. Anyway, let's move on to some more measurements. Okay folks, our PTO shaft, the distance from here, I'm going to measure from where these brackets come down to the very end of the bar right here. Now I'm not going to include where these tabs come out past the bar, just this tubular bar. Okay, let's back up just a little bit. Let me go all the way into here to the bar, the total length of the bar where it goes back in between these welds and these brackets. Okay, I've got it attached, and let's pull this out to the very end of this bar. And this bar, folks, is exactly 39 inches. It is 3 foot 3 inches. Okay, you may be wondering why 3 foot 3 inches? Why 39 inches? How did you come up with that number? Okay, this tubular bar here that we had originally, it was about 4.5 foot long, and we clamped it and really well, and we clamped our end really well, and we hooked it to the crossbar on the 3-point link. I got up in the tractor seat and looked back. The number, besides being able to turn while you're baling, the next best thing, and it's almost as good as being able to turn, is to be able to be in your tractor seat and look back and have this distance right here, to be able to see what's going on with your baler, to be able to see if your tines are at the correct level to the ground, they're picking up the hay good, to see if you're in your windrow, to see if your hay is been windrowed too thick and too big, and it's really starting to clog up into your baler that you need to slow down a little bit, or you can speed up. Having this distance between the tractor and the baler, it is so much better that it's hard to even describe it, how much better it is. Before, when it was hooked to the 3-point, it was really close to the tractor, and I would try to look back, and at the end of the day, I almost had cricks in my neck and my back was sore, where I was straining and leaning way back to be able to look down in behind my tractor to see what was going on here. Now I have this space, and I can see what's going on without straining. It's just a better visual of what's going on with my PTO shaft. I can keep tabs on everything going on right here on the baler, the density arm. I can tell when my bale is about to be full and ready to wrap. It's just, the distance made such a difference that it was unbelievably so much better. So that's the reason. At first we had a really long one, and I was like, well, I like that longer distance, but that's maybe, anytime you stretch something out, the more torque's going to be put on it, and the heavier duty it's going to have to be. You're just going to have to keep beefing it up and keep beefing it up, because we all know what it's like to hold a brick out at arm's length, and you can stand there and hold it, but then pick up that same brick and extend it out 20 foot and stand there and try to hold it, and you can't hold it for hardly no time. Same principle. 4 to 4.5 foot I felt was maybe a little much. So we shortened it, and we kept shortening it. And then we went a little too far, and I said, I feel like that's maybe a little too short. Let's pull it back out just a little. And we loosened the clamps, pull it back out. And finally, when it hit this spot, for my tractor and for me, my size, my height, a great big tall guy sitting in the seat and his head's way on up here, he can probably get by with even a shorter one, okay? But for me, I'm, your average size guy, 5'10", 5'11", and 190 pounds. For me sitting in my tractor seat, this was the perfect length that came out for us, and it works phenomenal. I love being able to look behind me and see what's going on without having to strain. So it's 39 inches. Okay, from the tractor hookup where I dropped my pin down through the drawbar and through my crossbar, let's get a measurement there. And I'll just put the tab of this rule right down in the hole. Well, I'll tell you, let's go the other way. Let's go back in there, out to the hole. The center of the hole is 41 9/16. 41 9/16. Okay, this tubular bar, from where these brackets are here, it goes all the way back to the back of them. We stuck it in there as far as it would go and welded it just like these. We welded them all, well, I say we, I didn't, but I was there. My friend welded them the whole way. They're not just tacked in a couple places. These brackets are welded all the way around with super welds. Okay, it is back in there about, it looks like right at 3 inches. So there's 3 inches of tube back in this right here. So that's the measurements of the bar. Okay, let's take this off, and well, I'll tell you what, while it's hooked to the baler, I'll go ahead and hook the crossbar here and show you how that hooks. And we don't have the tractor here, but it'll be hooked in there, and you'll get the gist of it. Okay folks, we've got our drawbar to the baler, and we've got our crossbar hooked to the drawbar. Okay, it's hooked with a 3/4 pin, as you can see, and these drawbar crossbars are readily available at most farm supply stores. Just make sure you get one that is the same category as your tractor, 3-point. This one is a category 1, and because it is, all the corresponding holes in it are 3/4 inch. We drilled our hole here in our swivel point right here, 3/4. Drop a 3/4 pin through it, and as you can see, we got a very short pin that barely sticks through, so we've got plenty of room under it through here for our PTO shaft. Okay, this is just a clevis that I have on there for other things, but we do have 2 chains if you notice, the chains on each side, and they have clevises hooked to them on the ends right here, as you can see, that we can hook to our tractor right above our PTO shaft up next to the top link. And the reason for the chains is some tractors have leak down in the hydraulic system. Ours does not, and we're lucky that it don't, but if your tractor had a very minute leak down and you had this up all the way and you're baling hay, over time it started to drop and drop a little bit over hours. The next thing you know, your tines are digging into the dirt, and worst case scenario is your crossbar drops low enough that all of a sudden it starts making contact right here with your cross link, your crossbar, or the pin in the bottom, and all of a sudden you're going to have damage. The chains hooked to it need adjusted to where when you raise it where you want it, with plenty of clearance for your PTO shaft, those chains will limit how low it can drop. Even if you lower the 3-point on your tractor, the lever to lower it, the chains will catch and it won't go down any further. Those will limit it. It's a safety mechanism to keep from damaging anything on your tractor or your PTO shaft. So the chains are important. Make sure you use it, and make sure that your pin that you're using here to attach don't stick way down to where it could accidentally contact your PTO shaft. If you need to, do just like I did, put it in a vise and take a saw and cut it off and re-drill a new hole for your pin to go through to secure it. And that just flew off, but you can see that I have plenty of room here under it for my PTO shaft. And it's not raised all the way right now, but that's close. So it's pretty simple as far as that goes. Just get you a crossbar and 2 chains and put the chains through. I put mine through the outside holes, and they come back and attach right above my top link on the tractor to limit how low that the lower links can drop. So it protects my PTO shaft. Okay. Some more specific measurements, and realize this is a custom piece. This I might be able to take this and hook it to your baler. I'm sure it would hook to your baler if it's identical to my baler, but then would it work with your tractor, the height of your tractor, and things of that nature? It might, or it might not. So this is a custom piece built for this baler and my tractor. For my tractor's again a Kubota L3200 4-wheel drive. So I'm sure I could take this to your farm and hook this to your baler and it would hook up perfectly. But however, when I go to hook it to your 3-point system, you may have a bigger tractor with bigger tires, it's further off the ground. You could have a smaller tractor where it's lower to the ground, and this won't work. So at the angles and things that we have this one welded at, the degree it's welded, the brackets here. Now these brackets are welded, as you can see, to fit inside the brackets on the baler, okay? As you can see, and it's got the tab on the top to limit how low it can drop. Okay, and I'll give you some quick measurements, but now just bear in mind these measurements, they might hook up to 10 tractors out of 100 and be perfect. I don't know. There's no way to know for me. So some quick measurements. My side plates here, the plates are, the lighting's not that great in here. They're 6.5 inches. These plates here are 6.5 inches. They are 3/8 thick steel, 2 plates, and they're 6 inches this way. They are 3 inches this way, and the holes are drilled at an angle. The first hole to the inner edge of the hole is 1/2 inch, and the next one is 1 inch, so there's a 1/2 inch difference. That would be the angle it's sitting. Okay. Now, the distance here between these, if you take them both into consideration, they are 2 inches right here. From outside to outside, 2 inches. Okay. The angle, the degree of the angle right here, I don't have a degree, a tool out here at the barn with me to check the degree of this, the degree of angle. Maybe I could lay something up here straight and get a measurement from here straight down to it for the distance. Let's try that. I've got a little square here. Okay, let me adjust the camera down just a little bit so you can see this. All right. Okay. If I lay this on there, okay. Bear with me, I dropped my ruler. Okay. If I lay this on there straight like that, okay, the distance from this tip right here to the ruler is exactly 2.5 inches. That's the gap from it being level here at my thumb out to here. The gap here is 2.5 inches. Okay, now bear in mind that's the gap that my tractor needed. Your tractor may be totally different depending on the height and the tire height and the size of your tractor. This may need to be a whole lot more or a lot less. For mine, this worked perfectly. Okay, the tab welded on the top, that is the limiter. The first protocol or two that we built using this system, so to speak, the tab we had to drop back and punt a couple of times, and one of the solutions that my welding friend came up with, he said we need to put a limiter on the top to keep the drawbar, the baler from wanting to pitch forward as much as it was. Even with the 2 bolts in it, it had a tendency to want to pitch forward, or the tines of the pickup tines of the baler wanted to go towards the ground. So he decided, came up with this plan. We need to put and this is like a 3/4 inch, no, I'm sorry, not that, it's a 1/2 inch piece of steel that he cut and left tabs on the sides here. As you can see, it's a little wider, so it will rest on those brackets right here down in the baler. That's on the baler. When you hook this to the baler, these tabs will sit on the tabs that stick out to attach your top link on your baler. They'll rest on it, and that limits how far this thing can go down, like this. When you hook it in, if it wants to rock forward, these tabs will only allow it to rock forward or backwards only so far, which has solved a major issue with this drawbar build. And thanks to him for coming up with that. So, as you can see, the tab is from the tab up to the front of the brackets is a 1 inch 1 1/4 inches. So there's right here in this space here, 1 1/4 inches. Okay, and the overall width of this again is 3 inches. The tab sits at 1 1/4. Okay, really, the drawbar solved my issues. It really did. Our initial review of the baler, one of the things I alluded to was the fact that if this thing had a way of turning, would put it over the top. And I think I've came up with that solution for our tractor. Your application may be totally different. You need to design your own if that's what you want to do. And all these measurements that I've gave and shown our drawbar here it's totally up to you. If you decide to build a drawbar kit for your baler and your tractor, bear in mind it's all your own responsibility. If it damages your baler or your tractor or something happens, that's totally on you. We have no responsibility in that whatsoever. We're just showing you what worked for us. And usually farmers are a pretty resourceful lot, and if it interests you and you want to tackle it, then you know, for us, and I'm relating only my experience, this thing has been a game changer for that baler. It made that big of a difference, in my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't saw it, we do have a video in our playlist of a drawbar build. We have one of baling our test plot hay, where we used this in action baling, and you can see it actually in use, and I'm very happy with it. Could not be any more satisfied. In my opinion, it put this baler to another level. It's a good baler to start with, but it put it to another level. Being able to turn, don't have to pick that thing up. Being able to see what's going on in behind me. It was the materials, buying the steel and the materials and paying a professional welder to build this thing was worth every single penny. And we've done a couple other things that to our baler. We had an issue with twine wrap, and we've done some modifying for that, and I'll show you that in another video a little later. But there's the drawbar, and again, it's been perfect for us. So thanks for being with us today here for our drawbar build. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of, seemed like, interest in a drawbar build, and so we decided to give some measurements and things of that nature in case you're interested in building one for yourself. You know, it's all about small farmers helping each other out, and it's just an absolutely beautiful day here, and I just decided to come out here and just sit down in the pasture for a few minutes and amongst the herd and just enjoy a little bit of today. You know, a day like this, a beautiful fall day when it's just beautiful out, is a good day just to stop a few minutes, and actually really any day is. I encourage you, if you farm and you're out, or even if you don't farm and you're work a 9-to-5 job somewhere, whatever your case may be, take a little time to stop. During the day, just stop your tractor and get off and just sit down in the grass and look around at the beauty that the Creator has given us, and just feel the awesomeness of what He left us to be a good steward of. To just soak it in. look around and just see the beauty that God created and left for us to use and to enjoy and to be good stewards of. And when you're out working in your hay fields and caring for your animals or your crops, whatever the case may be, and you're striving to be the best steward of your land that you can be, sometimes you just need to stop and sit down and just soak it in. Just soak it all in for a few minutes. And it'll refresh your mind, and it'll give you a boost for the rest of the day to realize that how blessed we are and how good God is to us and what He's blessed us with, and we're striving to be the best stewards of what He has given us that we can be. So I encourage you, take a little bit of time and just sit and look around. Watch the leaves, watch the grass swaying. Watch your animals out grazing. Just take a few minutes and just watch them. I know we're all in a hurry. It's a rat race. Hurry, hurry! I got to get this hay cut. I got to get it in before it rains. We got to do this and got to do that. But I encourage you, just jump off the tractor and just sit down in the hay field for a few minutes and just soak it in. It'll really refresh your mind for the rest of the day. Again, thank you for being with us here at Cross Timbers Farm and the 8th Day Chronicles channel. We really appreciate your being with us and watching our videos. And if you haven't, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to our channel. Leave some comments. We'd really appreciate it very much. God bless, and y'all have a great day.